So the First Amendment has 5 rights, and we've listed them in the order that they appear within the First Amendment. And the one thing that we talk about always in class, and as a reminder to everybody, is always remember the premise that government does not give you rights. Right? The Founding Fathers were big into natural law, and the philosophers of natural law, especially John Locke, always stressed that natural rights were rights that human beings got from God or their creator, and that government's job was to make sure that those natural rights were protected. So this Constitution is simply putting and codifying and putting it into writing that these rights come from God and that they are protected by government. The very first right in the First Amendment is the religious freedom right. There are 2 clauses to that. One is called the Establishment Clause and one is called the Exercise Clause. In the Establishment Clause, our Founding Fathers reiterated that Congress would never pass a law favoring one religion over another, that all churches are equal, and that government would not be in the religious business. The Exercise Clause is basically where the government is codified by the Constitution. The government is not going to get into the actual way you practice your religion. If I'm Catholic, I can go to Mass. If I'm LDS, I go to sacrament meeting. If I go to a Bible church, I can go to a Sunday school class. Whatever I choose to do worship-wise. If I'm Jewish, I can go to a synagogue. If I'm Muslim, I can go to a mosque. Government is not going to dictate how I practice my religion. That is the very first right, and as you can see out to the side, our Founding Fathers felt like your individual conscience was the #1 right that needed to be protected. The next right is the freedom of speech, and that is to be able to project your feelings, your thoughts, your ideas, your opinions into the public square and not be disciplined for it. Even thoughts, ideas, and expressions and opinions that might be considered controversial or even revolting to some people are still protected. And they codified that as the second right in the First Amendment. We move to the third right in the First Amendment, and that is the press having freedom. Media, if you will, newspapers, the internet, news broadcasts, where you get your information, all right? You are free to get your information wherever you like, and then it is up to you as an informed citizen to promote and codify in your own mind what is reasonable and what is not. It is not the government's job. Now, we talked about in class that in this generation, with Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Google and Twitter, these big tech companies, we have to keep an eye on those. They are private companies that everybody uses, but we're finding that sometimes people express opinions that these companies do not like. They can flag you or shut down your account for a while. And so this generation's job is to keep an eye on big tech, to use those platforms, but to also hold those platforms accountable and not censor people's opinions and their ability to speak their mind. The fourth right in the First Amendment is the right to peacefully assemble. Our Founding Fathers wanted us to get together and to group and to be able to express our opinions, not just as individuals, but as groups of people. And as long as our assembling didn't interfere with others' people's rights, we were free to do so. I'm going to give you an example. If we decide as a group of people we want to assemble and voice our displeasure or our support for something, as long as that assembly does not get in the way of other people's rights, we're free to do it. We can't block off a highway because another citizen's right to get to work on time should be infringed by an assembly of other people practicing their rights. You're not allowed to go in and break a window of a business. You can't break the law when you're assembling. If you peacefully assemble, you are entitled to do so. And the last right in the First Amendment, the fifth one, is what is known as the petition right. You have the right to petition your government, to ask for change, or to ask for no change. You can petition for the status quo, keep things the same. You have the right to write to your senators, to your congressman or your congresswoman, whatever the case may be, and ask them directly as a citizen to be heard. That is the petition right that comes from the First Amendment. religious freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to assemble peacefully, and to petition your government are the rights contained in the First Amendment.